always start with acknowledging that there is something wrong. There is something fundamentally wrong with our system. There's something that needs to desperately change because of the way we are treated. And for those of you who haven't experienced this treatment, I mean, I personally haven't even experienced most of this treatment. I've been pretty fortunate myself, but it's just knowing the stories of these people, knowing that this is what's happening to these people and just having that human connection to them and having that empathy for them. I mean, I'm sure you've all seen that devastating picture of what happened to the father with his daughter who were found in a lake dead. I'm sure you've all seen those devastating pictures. I'm sure you've all heard the devastating stories. Some of us have those personal stories ourselves. It's important to see these stories. It's important to know these stories, and it's hard. It's very hard. And these are stories that the youth experience on the norm. This is something that youth like always experience. They always see this. So I always say that the youth know a lot more than what people give them credit for, even young people like 13, 12. So knowing these stories is very important. And please like do some research on not just what happens with the immigrant community, but like what's the history of the Native community, what the history of like the what we did to them, how we stole their land, how we basically did a complete genocide, not only cultural genocide, but a quite literal genocide. And that's what we were built off of. And we need to acknowledge that. And we need to know that. And then we need to use that as fuel, as passion fuel, basically, is to be more human to each other.
When we have a platform like we do right now, you should always address the issues because like we mentioned earlier, everything that we've talked about is intersectional, which means that all of these different movements for these different issues are actually fighting for the same thing. And we're all in the same boat. Our struggles are similar and we can always find someone in a different movement that we can relate to. And so for me, whenever I have an opportunity to speak or, you know, I have a platform of some sort, that means that I have to address everything. You know, I have to address all the issues that are intersectional with climate justice, like because like you already heard me say, I can't talk about climate justice without talking about environmental justice, you know, XYZ. And so for one, I think that you should always be crediting other organizations and other people, community organizers and movements that are simultaneously working alongside the one that you're working in. And I'm a huge believer that there is a place for everybody in the movement, whatever that movement is for you. And I learned this when I got involved with the Sunrise movement because I was like, I went to my first meeting and there was like 50 people and my roommate and I were the only brown people. We were the only people of color and we were the youngest. So we got to talking and we were like, hey, like this space needs to be diversified because even though the environmental movement is predominantly white and it has been for decades, the people that are being affected by environmental racism are not. You know, we're predominantly Latinx, brown, Black communities, indigenous communities. And so I found that my passion was outreach and that was where I was most useful in the movement. My roommate and I, we joined that outreach team and we diversified that hub. Honestly, in a couple of months, half of that room was young POC people who were passionate about what was going on. And that movement in itself, there's just so much going on all the time. There's a social media team, there's an art team, there's a grant writing team, like whatever your skills and passions are, they're applicable to any part of the movement that you want to be in. If you're passionate about art, go to an art build, go to host an art party, like make some signs, you know, make some graphics, some infographics. Like there is a place in the movement for everybody and everybody's skills and talents. And I just encourage everybody here, to find some local community organization, or even somebody here that you want to touch base with, to really find where you can plug your skills and your passions in, because there's a place for you.